still see a slowdown and equity weakness on the horizon for Europe and called 2024 a stock picker's market. ECB President Christine Lagarde speaking earlier today, saying headline inflation may tick up again in the coming months, and it's not time to start declaring victory and reducing inflation. She's spoken a lot lately, and she's continuing to hammer this message, as I think we're going to get from the Fed speak as well this week, and potentially even Powell later in the week. Calm down a little bit. Chillax, as Tony Dwyer would say. Cool your jets on this excitement that inflation is just going all the way back down. The central banks are done, and we're going to start cutting soon.
Sure.
I think they want to quiet some of that.
A little more stark when it comes to the ECB, though, right? With the sole mandate on inflation and the fact that they might, because of that, almost have to tolerate more domestic weakness in the economies if that's the way it goes. And so, you have that message that's similar to what maybe the Fed is going to voice when it next meets. On the other hand, they don't have the same economic resilience, it seems, in terms of their economies.
No, and it does feel like they're willing to tolerate more, as you say, because of that single mandate, and they're not at the 2% level. It's come down.
Right.
It's not like a 15-year low, but
sure. Even though many people feel as if that maybe disinflationary forces are pretty strong in Europe still, so see how that goes. We are about 2 hours into trading. Let's go post to post with Bob Pisani for what's moving this morning. Hey, Bob.
Sort of a flattish open, but a spectacular November, and we're really heading into one of the best months we've seen in a number of years. I was joking earlier, I was at a fancy island in the Caribbean, and a lot of people were spending a lot, but seemed very worried. People are still spending in the United States here. If you look at the earnings commentary around the restaurants, generally they've been very good. Look at Chipotle here. It's just been on a tear all month. They had the earnings out at the end of October. It's been straight up. It was 1,900 at the end of October. Look at this, 2,200 right now. By the way, they've never split the stock ever. That's why this is a $2,200 stock. But what, up 15% this month? All the restaurants had decent numbers. McDonald's, the same thing. They reported around the same time as Chipotle at the end of October. Was 260, now 282. A big thing that's happened is not only do they have decent commentary, but rates went down at the start of November, and that's really been the impetus around getting the stock market going here. So look at Target here. Target's over here. They had earnings commentary, not bad. In the middle of November, it was 110. Now it's 131 here. 2024 earnings estimates have been rising for the last couple of weeks on these, and that's been a big factor here. But again, rates coming down is the key story. If you look over here, let's look at something. Here's Sherwin-Williams, okay? Sherwin-Williams had an report. Overall, didn't do much. People weren't very impressed with it. This was right at the end of October. What got this thing moving was when rates started moving down in the middle of November. So put this back up. At the end of October, Sherwin-Williams was somewhere around 240. And look at it now, 274. Was it because the earnings were amazing? No, it's because rates moved down. And of course, this is a remodeling story. Maybe you get home building, home sales moving a little bit more when the rates, interest rate environment report. Same with the REITs. All the REITs have been rallying since early November. There's Simon Property. Simon Property was, 105, 106, I forget, in the beginning of November, now 121. Again, this is all an interest rate play. So the only sector that's not doing great this November as rates come down has been the energy sector. And that's happening because oil's down and natural gas has been collapsing as well. And again, this is generally, here's SLB, this is the old Schlumberger, now it's called SLB. It tends to follow, Sarah, as you know, these oil service names tend to follow oil prices. So oil peaked in October, Schlumberger peaked in October. It's been down maybe, oil's down maybe 17, 18% since then. Schlumberger is only down 11%. And Sarah, the reason this happens is it tracks oil, but not perfectly. And the stock market's been moving up. So Schlumberger is a stock. It's been beneficiary of the fact that the stock market's been a little stronger. Same like gold stocks. They don't perfectly track gold. They generally track gold. Same with these oil service names. Sarah, back to you.
Yeah, makes sense. Bob, thank you. Bob Pisani. Time now for a news update. Silvana Hanau has that for us. Silvana.
Hey, Sarah. Good morning. Humanitarian aid trucks have started to arrive in the Gaza Strip under protection of the temporary ceasefire in Gaza. Sources tell NBC News Israel and Hamas are finalizing details of the truce extension, but they warn it could still collapse. Some 200 trucks are set to continue the delivery of supplies of food, water, medicine, and fuel to the region today. The motorcade for late First Lady Rosalind Carter departed from Plains, Georgia this morning. It will eventually travel to the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library and Museum in Atlanta, where members agreement to protect the greater public from potential misuses of AI. But the 20-page document is non-binding. It includes general recommendations such as monitoring AI for abuse